Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Ian. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I am here to talk to you guys about one of my most anticipated books of the year, my most anticipated horror book of the year by far, but one of my most anticipated releases of 2025, and that is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. If you've been around my channel for long at all, you probably know that I love Nat Cassidy. I have put out reviews for numerous of his books. I did a video just doing a little deep dive into like 3 of his works that I love. He can do no wrong in my eyes, and before reading this, I was confidently saying that he was one of my favorite horror writers of all time. And now, after having read When the Wolf Comes Home, I can say that Nat Cassidy is my favorite working horror author, which is so exciting because he only has like 3 novels and a novella out, which to have discovered an author who like checks every box for me, and is so early in his career, and every single book has been such a hit for me. It is so exciting. Like, it's the best feeling when you stumble across an author like that. And I'm here to tell you that if you love horror and you're not reading Nat Cassidy, you are missing out, because he is one of the most cutting edge, refreshing, exciting, edge of your seat authors that I have come across in my reading life. And every single book that he puts out is full of originality and creativity and shocking moments and chilling moments and wonderful characters and just so much good stuff. And When the Wolf Comes Home is probably his best book yet, which is saying something, because I loved Mary, I gave that 5 stars. I loved Nestling so much, I gave that 5 stars and loved it more. His novella Rest Stop was also so amazing. And now When the Wolf Comes Home is also 5 stars. Spoiler alert, I love this book. So let's get into the actual review of this book now, though, because I could just spend a whole lot of time just like in general gushing about this author because he freaking rocks. But let's talk about When the Wolf Comes Home. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the back of this book, and I don't want to tell you like anything else, because I went into the story like completely blind, and it was such a satisfying reading experience because of that. There is so much going on in the story that is not at all apparent in the beginning, and it just builds and builds in the most magnificent way, and I do not want you to be spoiled for it. So let me read the back for you so I don't spoil anything. One night, Jess, a struggling actress, finds a 5-year-old runaway hiding in the bushes outside her apartment. After a violent, bloody encounter with the boy's father, she and the boy find themselves running for their lives. As they attempt to evade the boy's increasingly desperate father, horrifying incidents of butchery follow them. At first, Jess thinks she understands what they're up against, but she's about to learn that there's more to these surreal and grisly events than she could have ever imagined, and that when the wolf finally comes home, no one will be spared. This book blew me away. It knocked my socks off, rocked my socks off. I don't know what the saying is right now because I'm so discombobulated with how much I adored this book. So that is kind of the basic setup. You've got Jess, who is an actress, or trying to be, in Los Angeles. She has been trying to get this career to take off, but it isn't going the way she wants to. And as the story starts, she's kind of at this crossroads where something happens and she doesn't know what she's going to do. And then on top of that, this boy is just thrust into her life, and they have to go on the run, basically. It's kind of like a road trip horror novel, with some crazy twists, some huge horrifying monsters. I'll let you guess what kinds of monsters you're going to see in this book, and just some jaw-dropping moments that I have thought about so many times in the month and a half, 2 months since I read this book. It is a wild ride, a truly wild ride. There were so many moments in the story where, because I had no idea where it was going to go, when reveals happened or monsters showed up, I was just like, my jaw was practically on the floor, and I was giggling practically with excitement over just the pure horror creativity on display in this book. Nat Cassidy must have just had a blast writing this, because it truly feels like it. Like, from the reader perspective, it's horrifying, but at the same time, it's like so entertaining. It's crazy. So a couple things I want to highlight about this book that I really enjoy, because like I said, I don't want to get too much into the plot itself, but I do want to give you a little bit of an idea of what you can expect from the characters and from the themes and things like that. So first of all, like I said, we have Jess, who's an actress who is just trying to get by. She is on her own and kind of struggling to be on her own, but she's doing her best, and now she's put into the situation where she has to take care of this kid. And it is so relatable some of the experiences she goes through of just like being overwhelmed with this 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old myself, and there are some moments that just test you, and she gets to experience that. But additionally, she's put into some insane situations, like truly mind-boggling moments in this story, and I love that she reacts like a human being, because sometimes in horror novels I feel like you've got characters who will just like scream and be scared, and that's like the extent of it. But Jess like reacts and talks about and thinks about the situation she's in with just the most relatable sense of shock and awe and disbelief, but also like clarity, where her personality shines through in a really authentic way. Like Nat Cassidy does this, and I particularly noticed it on in his novella Rest Stop, and again here on When the Wolf Comes Home. He has these crazy outlandish situations, but he puts normal people in there that I feel like I would know. Like they'll comment on something or have a thought in their head, and it'll make me chuckle just because I'm like, yeah, this is a ridiculous situation, and the main character is like fully aware of how ridiculous the situation is. And it's just so authentic and relatable. He writes real people that you would work with or that you would have grown up with or whatever. They're genuine people, not like superstars or anything. They feel flesh and blood and flawed and weird and bantery and just like you're reading a horror novel with a real genuine person in it, which is always entertaining. But Jess also gets put in some difficult situations in the story, and I truly appreciated her attempts at bravery, but how fed up she felt in certain moments. You know, she had some really authentic emotional reactions to a lot of the things that were going on in the story, and I loved that. I love her character that responds reasonably to the situations they're in, and she did that. So awesome. Additionally, we have this 5-year-old boy who, his character was very interesting as well, because you soon discover that he has been quite extremely sheltered, to the extent that there are just some things that should be kind of common knowledge that he doesn't really get. And that was very consistent and very well done throughout the story as well. And his dynamic with Jess as a result of that, I found to be really interesting and engaging. I loved all of the moments that they had together and kind of these little revelations that he comes to, and how gullible he is as well. Like, he really acted like a 5-year-old kid, and especially one that is just totally like offline, if that makes sense, which is hard to come by these days. So yeah, really great job as well on the kid character. And there are a lot of other side characters as well, but I don't want to get too much into that. But every single person in this book feels real. And that's something that Nat Cassidy does exceptionally well. Consistently, I will say. As far as themes go in this book, I will tell you this book is really about fear and all the shapes and sizes and forms it comes in, both through a child's eyes thinking about like the monster in the closet, and an adult who is anxious and overwhelmed and has all of these burdens on them of trying to be successful or trying to survive, or crazy health situations you get in, or the fear of, you know, the trauma that your parents have left on you, and fear for your parents. And there's just like every form of fear is in this book. And it's interesting because as adults, you don't necessarily think as often about like being afraid. It translates more into like anxiety and stress and worry. But at the end of the day, all of it is fear, and the relatability between the child character and Jess becomes more and more evident as the story goes on. Ultimately, I think that this story does a great job of exemplifying how fear is an ever-present thing in life, and it's something that you constantly have to overcome again and again and again, that you're not just never going to be afraid anymore, but there are things that come up in life that are challenging and hard and real. And at the end of the day, you have to overcome those things through determination, through leaning on the people around you, and through facing those fears ultimately. And that's something that is truly exemplified in this story. And I thought that it was really, really well done. Yeah, really fantastic. I do want to say, this book is not for the faint of heart, which none of his books are. But there are some truly disturbing moments in here, some horrifying moments, some bloody moments, some like surreal moments. And there are some dark things that happen in this story. He talks about how like no one will be spared, and that's something I should have listened to, because there's a pretty high crazy body count in this book. It's monstrous, but it's so engaging and so fun. and unbelievable. I could spend all day talking about how much I adore this book, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to tell you that this book solidifies Nat Cassidy as the horror legend that he is. He's incredible. Absolutely anything this man writes at this point, I will read. I don't care if it's a short story, a novella, a novel, a freaking 800-page tome. I'm gonna read it, and most likely, I'm gonna end up giving it 5 stars. And additionally, most likely, I'll probably be talking about it on this channel, so look forward to that. But that's my review for When the Wolf Comes Home. I think that this is an incredibly masterful, like, career-defining horror book. It's one that I'll be thinking about for a long time and recommending endlessly. If you want a horror book that truly tests the limits of what a horror novel can do and the creative limits of certain tropes, check this book out, because it is a showstopper. It is a career definer. It is a knock it out of the park horror book that everyone and their mother should read if they can stomach it. Thank you so much to Tor Nightfire for sending me a review copy of this novel, and thank you so much to Nat Cassidy for writing it. It was such a blast to read. Expect to see this again in many videos, because I'll have it on my quarterly favorites, on my year-end list. I'll find every opportunity I can to tell you to read this book. So When the Wolf Comes Home comes out next week, April 22nd, I believe. Yes, April 22nd. So get your orders in now, your pre-orders. Additionally, it has been revealed that this will be an Aardvark Book Club book pick for the month of May. So if you subscribe to that book box, definitely get a copy of this. I might have to, just because I want a hardback. Yeah, I'm really excited about this book, guys. Go check it out. Read this book, whatever you have to do to get it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, though. Let me know if this is a book that sounds interesting to you. I highly recommend it. It's one of my absolute favorite books of the year, and one of my favorite horror books of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.